Okay, we have one document open. Let's go into the File menu and open another one. We'll go File, Open, and let's choose L4Start.ai and click Open. And go into the View menu to Fit All in Window. Now we can get a good look at that artboard. Let's go into the Window menu to Workspace and choose Like and Design. And right-click on the horizontal ruler and make sure it's inches, which it is. And now let's go take a quick look at the Layers panel. On the right here we see that there are several layers, and two of them are locked, and one of them is hidden. Let's click on the Links panel, and we see that no Photoshop images have been imported into this document. Let's go to the Swatches panel, and we see that we're looking at the swatches by Small List View. And we'll go under the View menu to Guides, and let's hide Guides. And we'll go into the View menu and uncheck Smart Guides. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and zoom out, Command minus or Control minus, and show more canvas around that artboard. And I'm going to hold down my Option key and spacebar, or Alt key and spacebar, to get my grabber hand, and we'll just move the artboard over a little bit. And now we're going to choose the Artboard Tool and enter Artboard Mode. Now with the Artboard Tool, I'm just going to click and drag and make a brand new artboard. Then go up to the Control panel and click on the W, and let's make the width 3.5, and tab over to the height and make that 2 inches. And there we have the size of a business card, 3.5 by 2. And I'm going to drag it up here, but I would like to align it exactly with the top of the stationery. So what I'm going to do is go back under the View menu and turn on Smart Guides. And now, when I move it and get close to the top of the stationery, I see a Smart Guide showing when the two objects are aligned. So with the Artboard Tool, I'm going to click and drag again and make another brand new artboard, and go to the Control panel, click on the W, and let's type in 9.5 inches for the width, and hit the Tab key, and 4 1/8 inches, 4.125 inches, hit the Tab key, and now we have another artboard that is the size of a number 10 commercial envelope, 9.5 by 4 1/8. And I'm going to click on that and move it up underneath the business card. And we see a Smart Guide when the left side of the business card and the left side of the envelope are aligned. So now let's exit the Artboard mode by clicking on the black arrow, the Selection tool. Okay. And we can go back into Artboard mode simply by clicking on the Artboard tool again. There we go. And let's make a copy of this business card artboard. And we're going to do that by holding down the Option key or Alt key, clicking with the mouse, adding the Shift key, and dragging to the right. So when we hold down the Option key or Alt key, it tells Illustrator we want to make a copy. And then when we add the Shift key and drag to the right, it constrains the movement to a horizontal movement. So let's go back out of the Artboard mode. We'll exit Artboard mode by clicking the black arrow, the Selection tool, and we'll go into the View menu and go to Guides, and let's Show Guides. Now the keyboard shortcut is Command semicolon or Control semicolon to hide guides and show guides. And we'll go back into the View menu and let's uncheck Smart Guides. Now we'll tear off a couple toolbars. Let's go over to the Rotate tool and click and hold with the mouse. We see the hidden tool is the Reflect tool. Let's go out to the end to the vertical bar and release the mouse and tear off that toolbar. Let's also click on the Scale tool, click and hold, and we see there are a couple hidden tools there. And let's go out to the vertical bar at the end and release the mouse, and now we've got copies of those tools in floating toolbars. Let's go to the File menu to Document Setup. And we see we have no bleed, so let's go ahead and click on the word bleed, and we'll type in 1/8 of an inch, 0.125, and hit the Tab key. And because the little chain at the end of the row is closed, when we hit Tab, that amount gets filled in all those fields. So we've asked for 1/8 of an inch bleed all around. And if we were to use Photoshop effects inside this document, we would want to change the transparency preset to high resolution. So let's do that, and go ahead and click OK. And now we see around each artboard is a red guideline, and that indicates the bleed area. And that bleed area gets, that 1/8 of an inch bleed area gets trimmed off if each artboard is printed on paper that is larger than the size of the artboard. Now, let's get our black arrow or selection tool and click on each artboard. We see that the selected artboard has a slightly darker black line around the edges of the artboard. Let's choose the business card artboard on the right there, and we're going to go under the View menu to Fit Artboard in Window. And I'm going to Command minus or Control minus to zoom out just a little bit so we can see the canvas around the card. And we're going to change the ruler so that the 0 point is in the upper left-hand corner. To do that, let's go ahead and click in the white space where the vertical and horizontal rulers meet. And we're just going to click on that space and drag out and drop off that 0 point of origin in the upper left-hand corner of the business card. And now we see that the 0 on the horizontal ruler and the 0 on the vertical ruler both align with the upper left-hand corner of the business card. Now let's go back over here to the right and click on the Layers panel, and we're going to go ahead and choose the business card layer. And also, since it's hidden, let's click where the eyeball would go and show the visibility on that layer. So now whatever we create will be drawn on that business card layer. Let's go back to our business card, and we're going to drag a ruler guideline out of the vertical ruler. So click on the vertical ruler, drag out a vertical ruler guideline, and let's look at the horizontal ruler and drop it off at 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so there we've got a new vertical ruler guideline. And we're going to make sure the guidelines are locked. We'll go into the View menu to Guides and make sure that Lock Guides is checked, which it is. Okay, now we're still in the back of the business card layer, and let's go up here and get our rectangle tool. And with the rectangle tool, I'm going to click and drag from the upper left-hand corner of the bleed all the way down to the lower right-hand corner of the bleed and make a rectangle in that area. And we have the default white fill and black stroke. But I'm going to go over to the Swatches panel, and first I'm going to make sure that my fill indicator is to the front, which it is, and I'm going to click on the business card swatch. Okay, now we've got that rectangle filled with that color. I'm going to hit the letter X in order to toggle between the fill indicator and the stroke indicator. So I'm going to make sure the stroke indicator is now in the front, which it is, and I can see that in the color panel. And I'm going to go down to the color panel and click on the None symbol, and now my rectangle has a business card fill and no stroke. Now in the Layers panel, let's go up and lock the business card layer. We'll put a padlock in that area, and this way we cannot accidentally move that background. Next thing we want to do is draw something in the foreground, but in the Layers panel I notice the foreground is behind the business card. It's below the business card layer, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Foreground and move that layer up above business card. There. That way anything drawn on the foreground layer will be in front of art that's on the business card layer. So now we're going to go over to the Rectangle tool and click and hold and find our Rounded Rectangle tool, and we're just going to click once with the Rounded Rectangle tool, and get the dialog box. Let's type in 1.4 inches for the width and 0.35 inches for the height, and we'll type in 0.2 for the corner radius. So I'm just hitting the Tab key to move from field to field in these dialog boxes. So let's click OK, and we get a rounded rectangle that is selected, but a little difficult to see. Now, I'm going to go over to the Swatches panel. First, make sure that my fill indicator is to the front by hitting the letter X. There we go. Now the fill indicator is to the front. And in the Swatches panel, I'm going to click on the white swatch. There we go. Now it's a little bit easier to see. Let's hit the letter V as in Victor. That'll choose our selection tool, our black arrow, and we'll just move our white rounded rectangle up here and use the guidelines to align to position that rounded rectangle. Okay, the next thing let's do is go ahead and let's fill it with black instead. Yeah, we'll go back over to the Swatches panel, make sure the fill indicator is still to the front, and click on black. There we go. But now let's do a special effect. And let's do that by using the Scale tool. With the rounded rectangle selected, let's double click on the Scale tool, and we're going to make a copy of the rounded rectangle instead of clicking OK. So let's choose a non-uniform scale, and let's make the horizontal scale 80%, but keep the, I guess it would be the other way. Let's do this. Let's keep the horizontal scale at 100, but change the vertical scale to 80. And we're going to go ahead and click Copy. And now, since the copy is black, it's difficult to see. So we'll go over to the Swatches panel and click on the white swatch. There. Now we've got the copy on top of the black one, and let's go into the Select menu to deselect. There we go. So now we have a special effect.